This is VOD recap narratives. Within the confines of conscience, it was a common understanding that one must conceal their extraordinary abilities and lead an unremarkable existence. He was known as the Mule, a moniker that echoed the harsh reality of his sterility, a trait thought to be universal among his kind, the perceivers. It was under this assumption of infertility that Ian's mother and the perceiver did not heed the caution of contraception, and against all odds she conceived, heralding what many would call a miracle. Ian stood alone, the sole perceiver to be born through natural means. At a critical juncture, as agents infiltrated the edifice, their presence was not lost on the astute perceiver. He instructed Esther to escort Ian to his sanctuary in Madrid. As they descended the stairwell, the perceiver engaged in a ferocious defense, eliminating numerous assailants with resolute gunfire. When the waves of adversaries did not cease, he conjured illusions of arachnids to disorient them, enhancing his lethal efficiency. However, an unexpected ambush from behind resulted in his capture. Simultaneously, Esther and Ian encountered agents, but Esther, with astonishing proficiency, subdued them swiftly, even turning their weapons against them. Their escape continued to the rooftop, where Esther exhibited her prowess with a display of acrobatic finesse. Ian, initially hesitant, ultimately followed suit, evading further agent encounters by navigating through a tunnel with Esther. In a subsequent chapter, the perceiver found himself ensnared within the agency's laboratory. The researcher's mechanical emissary extracted his blood, and their machine subjected him to excruciating trials, testing the limits of his endurance. Despite an order from an American official to halt the torment for fear of the perceiver's demise, Adriana initially turned a deaf ear. Yet the intensity of his suffering left her with no alternative but to cease the proceedings. The grim revelation that the perceiver's essence had been too diluted to extract swiftly altered their course, as the American was informed that now Ian was their paramount objective. In time, as the perceiver recuperated, a simple request for water led to a momentous revelation of his hitherto undisclosed third ability. Exploiting the camera upon the robotic servant, he commandeered the mind of a technician, unleashing the robot's concealed armaments upon the unsuspecting observers. This singular act of defiance resulted in a massacre within the laboratory and culminated in the perceiver's emancipation at the hands of the mesmerized technician. Upon arrival at the perceiver's residence in Madrid, Esther and Ian were greeted with a revelation that left them stunned. Ian's mother was indeed alive but languished in a catatonic state, a grim testament to the agency's inhumane experiments. The housekeeper, equally astonished, could only watch as the family reunited under such harrowing circumstances. As the perceiver made his entrance, he offered a sliver of hope, suggesting that a fragment of Ian's mother's consciousness lingered, imprisoned within her own mind. With a son's determination, Ian ventured into the recesses of his mother's psyche, and there, amidst the echoes of her memories, they were briefly reunited. The encounter sent physical tremors through her corporeal form. The perceiver, joining this mental communion, laid bare the memories of unspeakable torment that Ian's mother endured at the hands of the agency. Yet, before her capture, she had secreted away a memory within Ian, a memory that held the key to a potent formula, symbolized by innocent toys. The perceiver's intentions for this knowledge were clear: to birth a new generation endowed with powers. However, as he reached for the representation of the formula, he was thwarted by an unseen barrier, a protective measure conceived by Ian's mother, who refused to let the formula fall into any hands. The perceiver's persistent assaults on the barrier wreaked havoc on her fragile state, forcibly ejecting them from the mental realm. Back in reality, as the last vestiges of life ebbed from Ian's mother, he serenaded her with a childhood melody, a final act of love and farewell. In the aftermath, their sanctuary was besieged by agents. The loss of his mother acted as a catalyst, unleashing Ian's dormant third power. With newfound abilities, he manipulated the agents into a violent stupor, incapacitating them with an eerie efficiency. His wrath undeterred, Ian continued his vengeful campaign, orchestrating a lethal ballet among the remaining agents, much to Esther's dismay. As fear gripped the agents, they regrouped outside, only to be met by Ian's implacable will, commanding them into a precarious stance of forced suicide. It was then that Vicente intervened, imploring Ian to step back from the precipice of regrettable violence, revealing the perceiver's manipulations. Amidst this confrontation, the perceiver's claim to paternal rights provoked an exchange that culminated in Vicente's injury by a gunshot. The shock of the moment broke Ian's concentration, his power's grip fading as he rushed to Vicente's side. In his final moments, Vicente beckoned Ian into his own memories, revealing the sacrifice of Ian's mother and Vicente's guardianship at her behest. As Ian reconciled with Vicente, addressing him once more as father, they shared a poignant remembrance of shared joys, a bond solidified before Vicente succumbed to his fate. In the wake of his father's passing, a resolute Ian retrieved the firearm and set off in pursuit of the perceiver, who had clandestinely mingled within the festivities of a neighboring edifice. Guided by Esther's voice, Ian deployed his burgeoning powers to fell the revelers, unveiling the perceiver's menacing tableau. Esther held at gunpoint. A cerebral duel ensued, with Ian and the perceiver vying for dominance over the weapon. Yet Ian's mastery over his abilities wavered, and the perceiver momentarily reclaimed command. The perceiver, exploiting his control, coerced the assembly to besiege Ian. Amidst the onslaught, Ian's defense waned, even as he resourcefully wielded a serving tray for protection. This crucible of desperation awakened the full spectrum of his third power, enabling him to counter the assault with newfound vigor, wielding bottles as instruments of incapacitation. Despite his efforts, the perceiver's relentless waves of manipulated assailants pressed on until a formidable foe nearly succeeded in extinguishing Ian's resistance. It was Adriana's timely intervention that turned the tide, with a decisive shot that saved Ian. The revelation that followed was jarring. The perceiver had ensnared Ian's mind in an illusory loop. As Ian's memories began to unravel the deceit, the painful truth emerged. He had been the architect of actions he believed were Esther's. With the betrayal laid bare and emotions running high, a panicked Ian inadvertently directed his shot at Esther, yet fatefully eliminated the perceiver instead. In the aftermath, Ian and Esther found solace in each other's embrace. Time passed, and Ian ensured that both his mother and Vicente were laid to rest with dignity. Adriana, present among the bereaved, implored Ian to align with her cause, desperate for the formula. But Ian, resolute in his desire for peace, declined the call to conflict and departed with Esther to forge a new path. As Ian and Esther's new beginning was symbolized by a heartfelt kiss within the confines of their escape vehicle, a parting glance at Adriana revealed a disturbing detail. The American, her conversational partner, was conspicuously absent from the truck's reflection. A chilling realization dawned. Adriana, too, was caught within the webs of mental manipulation. Please subscribe to view more content like this, activate notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.